Today on JetCast, we break down everything that happened in the Washington Commanders New York Jets game and who is this Agent Zero that all Jet fans are raving about. One of the preseason is in the books. Jet fans, the Jets narrowly beat the Washington Commanders in a game that means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. I'm one of those Jet fans that like to look at individual players, how they're playing, not necessarily the box scores in total, but I want to see who's looking good. I want to see the rookies, Fashanu, Allen Davis, Corley, how all those guys are playing out, and some of the undrafted free agents that we've been hearing throughout camp and how they're looking. We heard early on this week when the Jets were playing one-on-ones with the Commanders that Garrett Wilson was having a field day. The secondary, including Sauce Gardner, was just locking everybody down, which is great to hear. And guys like Stiggers, who are late-round picks coming from the UFL, you want to see how they're doing in the grand scheme of things. So let's start out on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not going to really talk about the second half. I know all Jet fans are raving right now about the Martinez kid, but at the end of the day, he'll be a practice squad player at most, at least this season. But early on in the game, the Jets seemed to stumble coming out of the gate. But I will say this, Tyrod Taylor showed what it means to have a veteran quarterback backup behind Aaron Rodgers. I can only imagine right now where we would be if we had him as our backup last year. But he's here this year. He wanted to stay. A big part of it was he didn't want to move his family. It's a big reason why he stayed with the Jets. But let's stick to the other players on offense. Allen looked great. Nine yards a carry. You can almost tell when he's coming downfield, his big 235 frame, that defenders kind of shy away from him, especially in the secondary. He looked very sharp. Isaiah Davis didn't look amazing running the ball, but we saw that one pass out of the backfield where he came across the middle, made the first guy miss, darted down the field for an extra 7 or 8 yards. You could tell that he's going to have an impact this year. And one thing that I know, at least myself as a Jet fan, I'm excited about is last year we didn't have backs that could pick up the blitz. And we saw 2 occasions early on yesterday where they were blitzing defenders and Braylon Allen picked them up so easily. And that's the benefit of having a back that's 235 pounds and willing to get dirty in the trenches. So he looked good. Corley, to me, I know a lot of Jet fans are saying that he's okay. He looked good. I don't think he looked that great yesterday. He looked a little hesitant. The Yak King, he's supposed to be a guy that makes guys miss. I didn't really see that a ton yesterday, but, it is week 1 of the preseason. Sometimes you get those jitters. And Olu Fashanu, he allowed 2 pressures, 0 sacks. He looked just fine. Nothing spectacular. But I would like to see 2 less pressures from him, of course, because after all, he was our first round pick, but nothing to write home about, which is also good for an offensive lineman. When you're not hearing your name mentioned, as we all know, that's positive for the offensive line. And now let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Everybody was focused in on Stiggers, and I know, because I'm in those Jets group chats, it was all about Will McDonald. He used his spin move. He hit the quarterback. Yes, he got a roughing the passer, which I think a lot of us thought was kind of bogus. Jermaine Johnson, after the play, was telling him, put your arms out so you could see you're not forcing your weight on top of the guy, which is a little ridiculous. But, at the end of the day, his spin move did work. And this is one thing that I've been mentioning a lot in my Jets group chats. For McDonald to be, good this year, develop this year, and be that pass rusher that we want him to be, he is going to have a counter move to that spin move. And I think that's kind of what got around the league, especially later on in the year last year. He has that spin move where he goes outside and he spins to the inside, which is good and all, but as the greats like Dwight Freeney had that outside pass rush. So when he hits you with that counter spin move, that's where it was so effective. That's what I feel with McDonald. A spin move is supposed to be more of a counter because it actually takes a little bit longer for it to develop. because you have to fake outside. You can't just spin onto the inside. So I expect him to work on that counter move this year. The safeties looked okay. You saw, the rookie march down right away, score a touchdown. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. When you look at who's on the field, it's a nobody of nobodies. I thought Bernard Converse had actually a decent game. I know he got beat on that one play, but he was all over the wide receiver. There's not much more you could do in regard to that early on in the game. But overall, I think it was a solid game around. I'm looking forward to next week. Maybe we see more of the starters. We got on August 17th, 7 p.m. We'll be facing the Panthers. I expect the Panthers to be atrocious this year. And look out, it wouldn't be this week. It would probably be the following week against the Giants. But I would expect Aaron Rodgers to get a snap or two, a series or two in the preseason. There's rumors going around that that's what he wants. He wants to get some snaps in coming off injury. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers should be getting snaps in the preseason, or are you with the other half of the fan base where they're like, see you week 1. We'll see you against San Francisco Monday night. I don't want you taking a snap. So all in all, it was an overall solid effort from us in the first week of the preseason. It means absolutely nothing. The greatest thing, if you ever have time, go on Twitter. You could watch Jet fans melt down left and right in regard to backups getting beat on the Jets. It's just incredible. But I will come back to you next week with another recap, probably on Sunday as well after the Panthers game. We'll see if we have somebody join us. But for now, overall, you got the win. You're feeling good. On to the Panthers. Let's go, Jets. See you next week.